Hello there today, and thank you to all the new recent subscribers and people who are liking my videos. So, this is the Sicilian. Tournament begins in 2 minutes. This is it right here. Now, there are so many different variations. This is the complicated, the ocean of chess complexity. In fact, I think of all the different openings as their own little oceans and seas of complexity in the landscape of chess possibilities. And the Sicilian defense has many seas, many oceans. And you may be familiar with hanging pawns. They do video series. In fact, we have this here. This is hanging pawns. And they have, this is probably the largest series, 23 videos. So it's absolutely massive. Now, I'm not totally new to the Sicilian by any means, but there's so much theory that, well, we'll do our best to navigate the wild oceans of the Sicilian, but also we want to try to recognize what kind of positions we're in. You can sort of avoid some of the theory as white by playing c3. So if you are a bit scared of the Sicilian, you can focus on this. And Hanging Pawns has a video on the Alpine variation. It's interesting. So this could be your weapon with white, and avoid a lot of the madness of the Sicilian. So it says here, the Alpine is known as an anti-Sicilian. So that's interesting. So c3, on the top level, it's only 1% better for white here. But sorry for bumping the mic. At the club level, if you will, or at Lichess in the database here, it's actually scoring better than the other options here. Because when you play the normal Sicilian lines, you, as white, you give black so many different options. And it's been a long time since I've played this with black. So here is an option, here's an option, here's an option. Go here. So if I'd gone here, this is a French style, which I might do a bit, because if we transpose into a French, I think that may confuse my opponents a bit. So I guess this is Alpine. And I'm just going to play a game of chess here. Yeah, there's so much theory. So it's going to take... Now, I didn't have preparation, but actually, it's funny, because last night, after I finished my live stream, I went to bed, and I thought, well, I'll just start watching the Sicilian videos from Hanging Pawns, because I know eventually Sicilian is going to come up, and so, and I know it's going to take a long time to prepare, so I might as well start. And funny enough, the next day, today, what is to me, for me it's 1 p.m. here, so we've got a Sicilian, and there's just so much theory. So I think it will take 3 or 4 live streams before I can even begin feeling like I'm starting to make sense of the theory, because there's just so much. Now in the past me would have done something like focus on the Alpine, for example, or focus on... I've played Sicilian with black as well. I mean, but a long time ago. The pin variation is very strong. Con Sicilian, I used to play a bit. Try to kind of surprise the opponent. I'm not a huge fan of the dragon, but the accelerated dragon and the hyper accelerated dragon, I'm not too familiar with. Those are interesting to me. Those are really, I think, just different variations. They just happen to have they happen to be named similarly to the dragon, but they're really different, as far as I can tell. And we'll just grab some space. I gotta move a little faster. Let's pick up the pace a bit. Don't want to get forked. And these kinds of positions are almost like a King's Indian Defense kind of stuff that you might get. So you run into this with a lot of Sicilian setups, but there is a lot of Sicilian theory that doesn't look like King's Indian Defense, really. Especially if we castle on opposite sides, if they castle queenside. Now that's also, it's kind of similar to King's Indian Defense, but it's, I would say, much sharper. Now I'm uncomfortable. They just go back. But we have no increments, so I'm kind of trying to waste their time as well, if possible. Little time waster moves. Unfortunately, this could be a problem. Stupid me. Big blunders. I'm gonna resign. So yeah, I'm not comfortable in these positions so much. But what is this? So a delayed Alpine with d6, yeah. So what is the main line? Alpine is probably, let me just see here. Got some notes from hanging pawns. 2c3, right, yeah. So they played knight f3 first, and then later c3. Delayed Alpine. Let's look at the Masters database. Doing fairly well for white. That's interesting. But you don't have to play d6, though it is the most popular move. Knight c6 is, I guess, the classical or the old Sicilian, rather. Again, there's French. e6 is French variation. And we could play g6. This is a hyper accelerated dragon, so that's interesting. Possibly. This is a O'Kelly variation. So hanging pawns does talk about that. I haven't. I don't really know anything about the O'Kelly. I think I've played this before and run into it before, but yeah. So there's a lot of theory. So let's get back to the tournament. Okay, what should we go for? Let's, I don't want to just play the Alpine the whole time. I want to learn proper Sicilian stuff. Now, this I've seen in videos, but don't really know it at all. They're hitting this pawn. Let's try it this way. Now I'm threatening the pawn. Take the check. I think they blundered. Just develop. I don't mind trading off pieces since I'm up a pawn. Screw up their pawn structure a little more. Though they do have the bishop pair, but it's blitz. I don't think it's too big a deal. Knights are good too in blitz. And I'm not sure what to do, to be honest. Let's not spend too much time on moves. Now I've kind of created a problem for myself because this is pinned. Whoopsie daisies. It's a real problem. I can stop the pin with this. And after takes... Okay, I was expecting takes. We'll take here. Their king is not that well protected with these pawns. Always give check. Okay, now how do I get in there, really? Let's just open it up a bit if we can. And let's go this way. I'll take first. After takes, their pawn becomes a target here. Their pawn structure is ridiculous. Every pawn is bad. So I think they don't really understand pawn structure. Not quite yet. If you want to join the tournament, we might get against each other. The thing is, this is blitz. Later, when there's a rapid... Oh, I screwed up. There's a rapid tournament. Later, then we can play. Because I'll have more time to think. Okay, so they're up a point. Yeah. Other times we can play. When it's a rapid tournament, I play with the users. Viewers. Thank you for using my channel. Trying to get my rooks here and here. Something like that. But they're giving me a pawn. Just take it. Get these rooks back here. On the 7th rank. Of course, the bishop pair kind of stops potentially some of the shenanigans that I could be doing over some of the damage I could be doing back here. Huh. Do not want to trade all that stuff. Gotta move quick. That was a boat. No, I'm pinned. It's bad. It's very bad. Very bad. Okay, but I was out of the opening. I was ahead out of the opening that time. So that's bad. They don't want to take with the queen because I get to develop the knight with tempo there. So that's why you want to stick with a little bit more mainline stuff. So pawn potentially overextended. I was expecting this, but whatever. Get castled. Threatening here, but they castle and it's okay. I want to kind of go like this. I can do this now. Wee. Just grab some space over here on the king side. This knight is better than this knight, though this knight is easily kicked away. Just grabbing space. Okay, they got tired of my knight there. Trade and make their pawn structure worse. I think this is a nice square for my knight. Can't be kicked by pawns. I'm a little worried about them having two knights in the game, plus a rook can be a lot of tricks and stuff. So I'd like to simplify. This pawn is also a weakness. Now I might think about this. If en passant I just take. Okay, so solid square for the knight. I don't see that the check really does anything. So let's attack this pawn structure. They can't really move it. And we'll maybe activate this rook. Activation of rook. I can't protect both of these pawns at the same time. Threatening the knight. It's protected only once. I'm hitting it twice. Okay, interesting. Is that check? No. Resigned. So the Old Sicilian. But this branches out into many variations anyway. They don't want to take here because I can take back and it's fine. So out of my prep here, I think this is a move. I can't go wrong with this, I don't think. Yeah, they're pretty sure they don't want to do that. Well, it might be a line here. But, well, I shouldn't do this probably, but I'll trade bishops just because I feel like my development is just quite ahead of them here. And possibly ideas of coming in like this. Though they offer the trade of queens. So here I'm threatening the fork. I'm gonna... I gotta protect this pawn maybe. Now I think they need to react to this. Okay. Now they had a time advantage, so I would have just... They should accept the exchange and then play on, I think. So 2 knight c6 is the Old Sicilian. That's what we had last time. Then you could go g6, you can go, yeah, branches out. So is this a move? Hyper accelerated dragon, I think. So I think this is maybe bad for them because I'm hitting this with 3 pieces. They're protecting with 1. Now they can remove one of the defenders. We go here. Now I'm attacking one of their defenders. And we're up a pawn. They take here, so it's even again. This looks a little crazy, but let's see what happens. Plus they're hitting this pawn. So if I go here, actually, bishop comes in. So possibly with the bishop is better. Although I can... could also take here, threatening checkmate, but no, they take here and they cover it. Let's try for this. You know what? I think this was a strong move. That was very strong, I think. Fortunately now it doesn't work, really. Bummer. Thing is, these take with check. Bad move. Opening the diagonal is terrible. Terrible move there. It was a good game though. I didn't realize till I was winning that that was a very strong opponent. So, that's when I happened to look at their rating. But we start off with, so yeah, this is a G6 here. Hyper-accelerated dragon. That's my first time playing it. So they went for c3, bishop g7, d4, c takes d4, c takes d4, knight f3, d5 is probably better. I think the computer is gonna like, the computer likes knight c3, but it's low depth, or sorry, f6. And okay, so try to remember, we can go d5 here. Castles. So I played d6. In the database it's okay, but, well, not the responses, the good responses are quite strong. But they played bishop b5 check. So a lot of chaos. I'm gonna star that one. And but yeah, there's a tactic here, although I should have exchanged queens first, I guess. Okay, so wait a second. Ah, yes. This was really strong, like I said. Let's see what happens, what they can do. They have to... Okay. And I'm up a piece. Because there's a whole checkmate threat. So I missed that great tactic. Now they blundered here. Yes. This was lucky. That, because when I moved here, I didn't see this. And it's even better because, because I can take with check. So I have to sack, then I'm winning. But, this is actually a terrible move by me. Also, they had a tactic here. Okay. Here was better. Sicilian stuff's very complicated. Lots to learn, though, from these positions, these games. That is what I'm here for. Let's go for another Sicilian... Oh. I was a little premature there. This is an Alpine. Yeah, I screwed up. So they can come here, but I go here, and renewed threat. And now, renewed threat because... Take. Removing a defender from the pawn. This is a tactic I've... Openings... The opening I used to play like all the time for years had a similar thing going on. So it took a while to make sense of it, but... you know, here I am, up a pawn. And let's just... screw up their pawn structure as much as we can here. +3. Not too shabby. Defended by the bishop. But now I'm just +1. However, my pawn structure is a little better than theirs. Always give check. +3. Truth hurts, huh? Checkmate! Ouch! It's gotta hurt. So I played a bad move here. Well, maybe it's not so bad. It's not mainline theory. Alapin is mainly these two moves. D5, knight f6. But maybe e6, d6, g6. Potentially surprising ways to play, I guess. I don't know. But they got this strong center, and I need to play d5 here. Yeah, it's just very complicated, you know. I don't know the theory with this stuff. We're playing like a sideline of the Alapine. A sideline of a sideline. But again, with the tactic here, though they could have taken with the rook. That's an unusual looking thing. I should have just castled. What's the deal with taking with the rook? Why is this good for white? But they're up a piece. What happened? Because I let them take this? Is my knight trapped? Is that the idea? Yeah, the idea is that the knight is trapped. But you need to do this first. For reasons. Bit complicated there. Anyway, my tactic worked. I got a good position. Here I made a mistake. This was fine, which I ended up kind of doing later. They had this, and then distraction kind of tactic. And then if takes here, okay, but that's a little complicated to think about in Blitz. And then I'm just winning. Good game. This might be good here. A lot of lines, if you can get away with c4, You should probably get away with c4. So here and they have a kind of a dragon setup. So I was looking at these lines, sorry, after queen here. Problem is they're opening the bishop and this bishop can't move for this dance. So I wanted to stop knight g4. Now I usually don't, when I play the Sicilian with white, I usually don't have my pawn on c4. It's kind of new for me. And it feels like it opens their attack faster. And maybe I'm supposed to play this. I really don't know. But then we got it simple, straightforward plans. And do I take? It's a free pawn. Pawn's a pawn. So it feels good to me now, but there's still a lot of complexity. A lot of complexity. Like that. I fall for stuff like that. Maybe try to really solidify that side of the board with this, maybe. Then I'll attack. Ouch. This is pinned anyway. So we're actually even in material. Should I give up the pawn? I'm gonna give it up. It's a bit painful. So I have ideas of here threatening the rook. If rook moves, takes, and cause all kinds of chaos over there. This is not quite fast enough for them to really stop all that. But here, and it's still pinned. So, okay. With check. Alright, I'm going to take a big risk. They should take. They're winning, but who knows? they might not be strong enough to guarantee themselves a win. Looks like they are. Looks like they're totally fine. But I think that was a mistake. Ah. Yeah. See? They were winning, but they screwed up the end game. They don't have enough time on the clock. They didn't know how to play it. Yeah, as you can see here, they were winning, but they screwed up. Now here, yeah, this is a terrible move, objectively, but it won me the game. Here was drawish, apparently, but this is complicated. Most of the game they're winning. I blundered. Oh, this is already bad. And huge blunder allowing the fork. So, okay, I didn't need to move my pawn forward. Like I said, I'm unfamiliar with Sicilians where I put the pawn on c4. I'm kind of new to that, trying to improve my play. I think, let's see if what theory says here. Yeah, c4 should be good. If you can get away with playing this without any real repercussions, I think it's probably good. Just waiting for the database to appear again. Let's just refresh. Sometimes I have connectivity issues with LeChess. So yeah, where's that? There it is. c4, most popular move. The old Sicilian, after knight c6, it's the old Sicilian. Play d4, and we have an open Sicilian. Well, there's a lot of open Sicilians. G6, second most popular. So this is the accelerated dragon. Okay. Knight f6 is like 2 knights variation or something. I don't know. Or we can get 4 knights. I think this is 4 knights variation here. And this is, you want to play this with white. So, and there's e5, which is the Lowenthal. Okay. So in the hanging pawns introduction to the Sicilian video, we're here with knight c6, old Sicilian. There's knight f6 open. There's g6 accelerated dragon, and there's e5 Lowenthal. That is after d4 takes, and is this move 4? How do you tell? I think it's move 4. Oh, it's rather still move 3, and then this is 4. Maybe their notes are wrong here, yeah. Should be 3 ... I think. In hanging pawns here. I think this should be a... Wait a second. Oh, you know what? These numbers are wrong because it's counting this as the first move. That's why the numbers are wrong. Okay. They're off by 1. Okay, so the notes are correct. And yeah, So we have 3 main branches here. And then the Taimanov. I think it's not in the notes here, but I believe he has a video. Yeah, Taimanov. E4, C5, knight f3, E6. So E6 is transposing into Taimanov. Okay. Let's go back to the tournament then. Okay. And what should we do here? Should we stop any shenanigans? We're gonna be worried about this bishop a little bit, so let's play like this. Go for sort of a King's Indian setup or a dragon setup, basically. Can't be too bad. Here we go. Should probably take that. Huh. Allowed them to get a strong center, but I think I have to play for E5 somehow. Possibly let's castle, but they might play some funny business. I think I need to play for E5. If they want to trade off the queens, that's not really what white usually wants to do. So I like to play ideas like this. And let's go for it. They can kind of do this with tempo, but probably put my knight here. Now their bishop is not too strong with those pawns like that. So that's a nice point. Maybe I can win a pawn. Here, something like that. Possibly. But knight comes back. Now, this is an interesting square, potentially. Yeah. Again, threatening here. Takes, blah, blah, blah. But it's very complicated. Both of our king sides are weak in terms of pawn structures. Now they're debating whether to take it, because they probably don't want to lose his pawn. Okay. So they're planning to take with the queen. I think there might be a tactic here if they take with the queen here. And I'm hitting this bishop twice. Maybe they saw it. So yeah, these setups are very complicated, but good for your chess. Queen coming here might be interesting. I don't know. I can't take too long to think. Possibly, don't think this makes sense, but let's do it. I'm eyeing this pawn now. With greedy eyes. Now they get to develop with tempo. I've got to watch out if we trade. Okay, we didn't trade. Is this a move? Looks strange. Probably not. The king is weak. I gotta watch out for all these kinds of squares here. Ideas here, ideas here. They're winning checkmate, huh? Yeah. Checkmate with the pawn. Well done. So, Lasker done attack. Let's see, is that in the hanging pawns stuff? Lasker done attack. I don't see it here. Anywhere in the videos. G3 cannot be a bad move, I don't think. I don't think it can be a bad move. So it's interesting. Interesting sort of potentially surprise. Well, is this the master database? Yeah. Not scoring too well for white. But I don't know. I think it's an interesting weapon. Knight c6 is most popular. Strike out with d5 as well. Also g6. Now I played e6. Black is doing well here. e6, d6. Oh, I played d6 rather. But both of these are interesting. 92. Now with g6, now I'm playing into their hands, I guess. Actually, after 92, white is doing well. So that's interesting. Chess is hard. Now, I gotta think d5. Let's try to remember that. G3, d5. Let's actually analyze a little more. So d5 usually run into e takes, but d3 is a possibility. But I don't think a lot of people want to play this way for white. So more likely is e takes. Now knight f6. What's the computer say? No, it says no. So queen takes because we're threatening this, so they can't do this with tempo just yet. And then we pin. This is interesting. This is an interesting response. So check. Knight e6 check. Knight c6. What's the computer say? Computer prefers queen to e6. And just good old king f1. If queen e2, computer likes it. But now we're threatening. Takes, takes. Here check. Well, they just go back. Let's say they do here. Why can't they come here, here? Because they cannot leave this knight here, right? I will be up a piece. So they want to go here to stop any shenanigans. Now here's also protecting this. But I don't think this looks like the game that white typically wants to play here. King f1. Play knight c6. Play a game of chess. h3. Yeah, I think I slightly prefer black. Black is a little more active. I think this would be a very weakening, I think. Computer doesn't really like it. There's one yeah. This ain't good for black. There's only one game and black won. So I like this position for black. So does the computer. And here it says equal. But the computer says this. And then after this, saying better for black. So okay, so g6, sorry, g3, d5 is the weapon. Takes, takes, I'm threatening the rook, so here and then pin. And then queen e6. That's the weapon against g3. So we have the next tournament already by now, I think. Play standard lines. That's a solid W. Top of the tournament. All right. Strong opponent. I'll go for a French style one. Now, can I... If I play this right away, we end up in a French exchange. I think. If we do takes. So this is basically a French exchange variation. Totally different opening. But we'll have to see how it plays out. I'm gonna play a little silly. I want to go for this, putting pressure here. And the bishop does not have time to go here. Protect the king. Possibly something like this, maybe. Getting these two knights involved will make things very complicated for my opponent. Gotta watch out in some lines for this tactic. Right now the queen's protected, but if I'm here, it'll be different. I have to take that. Which, good move by them, I guess. King is feeling very safe. Nothing to worry about. Really nothing to worry about. This is basically probably resignable, if I'm being honest. But let's play on. Giving up this pawn, it's a disaster. So, e6 is a move. French variation, d4, c takes d4, knight takes. Now this was just bad, I guess. Nobody plays that. Two people played it. Knight c6, knight f6, a6. Yeah, I don't know the French variation of the Sicilian that well. I was hoping to go for French exchange variations that I'm more familiar with. But it's a bit different with the knight here all of a sudden. And in fact, this is not really the normal French, because you're missing this pawn. This pawn is missing. Yeah, it's a different opening. I mean, it says +1. Perhaps it's not totally unplayable. But maybe I'll kind of avoid the French variation stuff until I watch some hanging pawns videos about it. It's I know it's complicated. So many Sicilian variations, it's just nuts. I want to play this, but I don't really have time. Now maybe if they're going to fianchetto their bishop here, maybe right now it's probably not practical. Fianchettoing my bishop here against that might be a good idea. Probably they have a tactic here. I don't know. Maybe not. Put the bishop here. Ah, I missed it. With tempo. Very bad. I needed to go here. Terrible. Terrible. So this is closed Sicilian. Okay. Knight c6. g3. Look at the score for black here. Could play g6, e6, d6. Rook b8. Already, rook b8 is interesting. That's cool. Closed Sicilian. Knight f6, not so good, I guess. d6, maybe doing better. Black is scoring much better here, 39% versus 24%. So striking in the center with d5. Bishop e7 also a thing. f4. Now I did d takes. Bishop e7 performing better. Just getting castled, I think, is the idea. Computer says pretty equal. Computer doesn't like that. Let's go back to the tournament. So we had ourselves a closed Sicilian game. Knight c3. Knight c6. g3. We could play g6. Could play a number of moves there. Weird move. Very weird. Let's play standard positional ideas and play like this maybe. Don't need the bishop or the pawn, so okay. Now I probably want to get e5 in. Just stop any shenanigans here. And whatever. Knight comes here. This is a good square for a knight for them. I'll allow it. We can trade off a knight. One of these. Now the bishop is looking a little stupid. If I were them, I'd probably play for opening the center. I'm going to be playing on the king's side. So I don't mind, you know, takes. I don't mind them pushing their pawns forward. So I want to get rid of this knight. Don't want to have that just chilling. This other knight is 4 squares away, so it would take time for them to get in there. How'd they get in there? Who knows? Dun 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 dun, like this. Okay. So I'm preparing for the f5 push. Created an additional weakness in their position. I think we can push this. So these are kind of positions that, because I played King's Indian Defense for years, I'm very familiar with. I can still make mistakes and all that, but I tend to have a lot of ideas of attacking on the king side here. I'm not too afraid of this knight. These are covered by my queen. It's a nice spot for the bishop. And generally, I think I want to keep these pawns closed because I don't want to trade these bishops. This bishop is really valuable for the protection of my king, especially if I'm attacking with these pawns. This is going to be the last thing protecting the king while I attack. So they're protecting with 3 pieces. I'm hitting it with 2. Maybe I have ideas of bringing the knight here. I don't think it will do anything too incredible. But I'm also getting out of the way for these pawns to potentially come out to the board. Maybe ideas here. Here, and then, you know, get the queen up behind it and that kind of stuff. Now, got interesting squares for the knight potentially. So I think he puts the queen here, and I like this. They want to remove the knight with the bishop, but now with their queen in the way, it's difficult. I might even consider a rook sack, but I probably want to prepare it, at least with this, connecting the rooks for the other rook to come in. Okay, now they're thinking of this maybe. Yeah, let's, my plan is this rook sack. I kind of like it. Then it allows the queen to come in here, attacking that square. So this is weird. Wow, they ignore it. That's crazy. We can take again. Now I'm just up material. If I were them, I'd take this way. But I'm up 3 points here, threatening the fork on the king and queen. This bishop's a little annoying, but I think I can take care of it. Just easy moves like this, although they reinforce potentially. Checkmate. Nice. The Snyder variation. You know, that's crazy. I wonder if that's named after... There's a Snyder who taught me chess when I was growing up. And he was famous for some books. unfortunately, he was also a pedo. I didn't know that, but I saw it on CNN later. Well, they're not going to tell us the history. It shouldn't be called the... Exactly. It's the same guy. That's crazy. This guy, this Snyder guy, wanted to take me on a field trip or something when I was a kid. And my dad said no. I said I was for it. My mom was for it. My dad was like, nah, I don't trust this guy. My dad had the right instincts. Dodged a bullet. No, seriously, I was, I mean, I had his book signed, everything. And he had a chess school in the area. And one day I was just doing my homework, I think. And usually I didn't have CNN on, but I happened to have CNN on. And the ticker, like at the bottom, just started scrolling by saying, famous chess person Snyder arrested, blah blah blah. That's how I found out about it. Alright. So we have the 4 knights variation. I'm out of my prep. I just know I think it's called the 4 knights variation. At least Jonathan Scrantz called it that. Go for a standard setup. I never know where to put this bishop. And I never know whether I'm supposed to play a3 or not. I guess they're gonna get nice and cozy with me on this square probably. But I actually think you want the rook in there first, and then the king, then the queen. Alright, so I want to look at how I can attack. This I think closes things down. I think I need to take. Taking here is an idea. This pawn will be weak, but probably I'm supposed to attack on the kingside over there. If takes, queen coming here is probably the end of the game for black. I prefer my position over black's here. I could make a mistake, of course. Yowza. No. I had mate in 2 that I missed. Of course. I kept thinking of queen here. So let's go back to the master's database. E5, D6. If E5, knight BD5. D6, they gotta protect that square. Bishop G5 or knight D5. I've played this before. And then I don't think I'll run into this as often. Let's see what. Then we have a game of chess or Bishop G5. Move the knight back. Probably B5. And a game of chess to be played. Might continue like this. Go knight takes, possibly. But there's a game of chess to be played. There's always a game of chess to be played until the game ends. And you hang knight and mate in 2. I think this is an accelerated dragon. I'm going to play the standard way I play against a dragon. Now this is a bad move. You don't want this Swiss cheese kind of pawn structure with all these weaknesses on dark squares like this. Okay, but anyway. You learn to avoid this kind of structure. This is also weakening their kingside further. It also makes it hard to castle. So you can tell they don't understand the Sicilian. They need to watch videos. These were bad moves. And the idea here is they need to be attacking. They need to be setting up for the attack. I'm set up for my attack. They're not set up. They need to be castled, but they screwed up here because if castles I take. Although, yeah, I think that's correct. Alright, so they're taking a stab in the center. Now, do we want to get c4 in? We're both hitting this square with 3 pieces. Takes. I hope it's okay. Now, yeah. It's also blocking this. That's interesting. The knight doesn't really want to be on the edge like that. But do I want to trade queens? Let's do things this way because I think, yeah, they don't want to take here. Just because here I'm screwing up their pawn structure, kind of improving my rook potentially. And I can stop castling like this. Slightly annoying move for them possibly. Want to get developed. So I'm guessing bishop here, rook here. Not sure what the bishop is doing here, although they might be planning to trade off the bishop. Alright, so I'm fairly well developed. Now we gotta think. That's a good pin. That's a good tactical mistake by me. Okay, that's not good. Down 2 points. This rook is still out of the game, so theoretically might have a way to make something happen. I want to put my bishop here, put some pressure, maybe try to attack this rook a bit, because 2 bishops against a rook is good. But this bishop might be able to defend it. I don't know, ideas like this. Now if I go here they might castle, but that would be maybe crazy. It actually might have been better for them to trade off this bishop, because now this bishop is just a monster. Kind of keeping everything cramped. Great diagonal. Up till now, this has been hard to get out. If here, I guess I have to just move back. So it looks like a bizarre move, but might be actually okay. I mean, I guess... Oh, no, I guess I'm wrong. I can just take here. Yeah. Well, I don't know, because I'm pinning the rook against this. So let's see here. Do I want to do this? Just eat a free pawn. Hopefully I can come back and have the same threats. I don't know. Here we had the tactic. I think the opponent understands tactics fairly well, but they're bad with just coming up with middle game plans, I think. Well, they don't understand this opening. I think that was this game, right? Yeah, they don't understand the opening. So I feel like they've spent time on tactics, but not on studying openings and middle game plans. At least not for the Sicilian. GG. Yeah, that's a weird move. Now I had ideas of coming here. Okay, so that's the problem with this move. It weakens this square as well. No good way to defend this square, really, is there? That gives up the fork. Coming here is just going back. We have a takes, takes, takes. And then we have this. Pain just keeps going forever, doesn't it? And this knight is a monster. Okay, so I should have watched when they play e6 and they weaken the square, look for this ideas of coming into here. And then I blundered probably here. Yeah, allowing that. It's still pretty even. Yeah, I thought I should have just taken this pawn. Okay. GG. c4. We haven't really run into this. Possibly getting here is good, but I think there's just like, is this botmanic something or other? Not too sure. But these squares are very important, I think. A weird move. And but I want to get this knight maybe somewhere like this, because I need to keep this locked down. So maybe playing for f4, f5 rather. I didn't realize I could just take. Now I'll get cast kingside, and I have this nice file for my rook. But I think if I were them, I'd then, in that case, try to sack here, maybe. It's a little tough when the knight is way over here. The sack is not going to be looking as good. Let's just double up those pawns. Idea's getting over here now, trying to go for their weaknesses. These three pawns are weak. And I don't think anything magical's happened on the king's side, though I want to avoid having their queen get here, I think. On the other hand, knight against bishop should be good. Bishop is stuck on the dark squares. Knight can attack light squares. So, but let's now force this to be stuck on a light square. Maybe I should have stopped the... okay. I think the bishop wants to come here, so let's just stop that. And yeah, this weakness on light squares is kind of stuck there, even this one, so that's all good. All good in the neighborhood. Get a pass pawn if they move this forward. So I gotta get it here or here. How do I get there? I think this will be okay. They really need to take. Now these are all weak. I get the pawn back immediately, probably. They can't even defend the poor pawn. It's difficult for the king to get on the other side of the board. Yeah, this was great. Knight versus bishop. Now if they trade the bishop for the knight, I'm up 2 pawns and they're just losing. Oh, they want to get their bishop here. But they're gonna have to sack the bishop here, I think. And it takes forever to get there. Yay, I'm protecting. There we go. Sometimes those situations are a little tricky. Okay. So now we've run into c4, which is not a popular move. way down there. 40% for black. Knight c6 is most popular. d6 is scoring very well. Staunton-Cochrane variation. e5. But this is very equal. So I'm not too interested in those lines, but eventually I do need to study them a bit. So that's the end of this tournament, and the Rapid tournament comes up soon, but it'll be in the next live stream, probably in 5 to 10 minutes-ish, probably. Thanks for all the new subscribers and people liking the videos. Thank you very much, and I hope you have a good day.